So when you come from backgrounds like social sciences, history, literary studies, then you might have vague, terrible recollections of linguistics introduction lessons with all the syntax things, which you were thinking of as a complete self-purpose. I've been working with several syntactic schemes for many years, and I have to say that I have never delved as deep as quite to get entirely rid of this suspicion. But universal dependencies is different. There has been a huge tradition of formal syntax that was meant for computational linguistics before machine learning. So it was meant for rule-based system where that would be able to mechanically go step for step and transform one structure into another, turn passive into active, active voice, and etc. But that's no longer needed. So the annotation scheme of universal dependencies is much lighter. It doesn't adhere to any particular linguistic theory, and it's really practically oriented on information extraction. This makes it slightly user-friendly. In universal dependencies, a crucial thing is the crucial concept is parallelism, or that it should be that the syntactic annotation should be universal, that same phenomena should be annotated the same way across languages. But on the other hand, one shouldn't violate the the specifics of the individual languages. There are no artificial nodes, no scary things as traces, X-bars, whatever. It is not formal syntax, no interlingua like AMRs or others. And there's still some leeway for language-specific phenomena. Its syntactic approach is dependency. These are two main streams in the syntactic theories. One is phrase structure grammar, that's Chomsky, and the others are dependency grammars. So this is dependency. The syntactic dependency is mostly indicated by grammar congruence, at least across the languages. So even if we know that English doesn't have any cases anymore, they still use accusative and nominative, although strictly speaking, they are not accusative and nominative in pronouns anymore, just because it's the closest match to languages that still use cases. There are some exceptions to those syntactic dependencies. These are multi-word expressions, proper names with titles and other such bigger things, structured lists, tables. This is the scheme requires a dependency tree. So there are some mock dependencies, but they say I am not a dependence basically. So it's a fake sort of tree. Another the thing that stands out is that auxiliary words usually depend on content words. Auxiliary words usually have no children. When you imagine the syntactic tree as a tree upside down with the root on the top and the leaves at the bottom, so children are leaves, they have no other children. Then punctuation attaches to its clause or phrase head. That's not so interesting. And the labels, there is a set of labels, and you will see right away that they are sort of a trade-off between form and function. Some of those would say, I am a time adverbial, and some of them would say, I am a determiner. So both is catered for. It doesn't try to be like homogeneous in this sense. So let me show you the taxonomy first, like that, so that you have an idea of the number and function of the labels. And we are also going to go through the syntactic concepts. We come from different language backgrounds and also different backgrounds of learning English as a foreign language. So we might not be using the same terms, and that's why I'm going to go through it again. The root of the sentence is always the main sentence predicate. It's the verb that governs it all. Then a verb typically has a subject. Who does that? The subject can be either nominal or clausal. Can anyone think of a clausal subject? That you have a little sentence instead of subject? Online? No ideas? Okay, so something like whoever did this will be punished. So that would be a clausal subject. Whenever you can put a noun in there, then it's a clause in that particular sentence element function, right? It's the same with direct object. I like Peter. I like that Peter is a good friend. Something in that sense. So either you have a noun there, that would be a nominal object, or a sentence. Typically, this is something called content sentences. I said it. I said that. Blah 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 blah. Then there's an indirect object. Typically, in languages that use cases, the direct object is in the accusative case, while the indirect object usually is in the dative. So that has, in English, this stranger object is indirect object as well. And then you might remember prepositional phrases, right? A noun phrase and a prepositional phrase. So such a phrase is called a noun in so-called oblique case. English doesn't have any cases beyond that strange pronoun accusative. So anything that else any cases they want to express, they do express with prepositions, and that would be sort of oblique case. And then oblique is the noun or the head of the phrase, and the preposition itself has the label case, like the case marker. And then there's something that's totally a weird concept, and that's verb complement, called ex-comp. And in Quirk's comprehensive English grammar, it is, that's disturbing, isn't it? In Quirk's grammar, it goes from something some of us would call nominal part of a copula predicate. John is an idiot, so this idiot would be the verb complement. But then it would be also John became a professor, so not with just a copula, it's something like a copula. John was named a professor. They consider him an idiot. So all these strange things where that word sort of hangs on the verb, but still refers to the subject or the object of the sentence. They named him. They named him professor, so he is professor, right? Also it stands. The verbal complement in English, it stands for the so-called verb control. I told John to leave, then John leave, right? The subject of the leaving is John, although John hangs on as an indirect object on the telling. So this is quite a wide range. Let's go through the syntactic trees of simple clauses. Here you have two simple sentences. She left and she left a node. So there you see the root, the main verb. Then there's a technical root which you don't have to bother about. So the root is the verb. And then it has a noun, nominal subject, the pronoun she, and then it has just punctuation. I would render this like this. So this would be the governing node. This would be the label of their dependence, right? This is this node, and this is this node. This is the edge between them, and this is the other node. So the arrow would also always go downwards to the bottom of the tree. Then the same thing goes here with a direct object. So this is the label object. You see that this is the form, and this is their this is their eupos, noun and pronoun, and then the noun has a determiner, and the determiner refers to that noun. So it is the closest, most obvious partner in the sentence. That's the word node is the actual reason for A to be there, right? So so it is a child of node. Here we would have again the verb leave, the subject, the object we know, she left a note, and there we have the indirect object. So if we try to draw some semantics out of it, then we would say, okay, so direct object is usually dative, so it would be some sort of recipient. But you know that this can be transformed into a prepositional phrase as well. She left a note to him, and then it is semantically it is the same recipient, but it is rendered syntactically. It is rendered as a pronoun in an oblique case, so a prepositional group here. And again, the preposition hangs on the pronoun. Here you might remember that syntacticians would argue whether function words should govern the content words or the other way around. Here the policy is the content words have always priority, because that makes the trees of parallel sentences syntactically more similar. Languages differ pretty much in how they use function words. For instance, if you had this in perfect tense, then there would be something like she has left a note to him, while in languages that would create this perfect tense or not have it at all, they would not have any auxiliary there. So the parallel sentences look much more similar when this leaving is there on top rather than have and leave on it. Yeah. Okay, then so we have already subject, the root as object, and object, the indirect object, and we add and we add another oblique case. So these oblique cases, normally a sentence has just one subject or one object. When they are coordinated, then it's still one subject, like apples and pears is still one sentence element, not two. But with oblique cases like adverbials, you can have as many of them as the sentence can bear. So and they are mostly expressed by oblique cases or adverbs to come later. These now I'm going into the markup. In the oblique label, there are sub-labels in some corpora that specify that further specify this this syntactic relation. So the English annotation tries to teach the parser to recognize time modifiers. So that's a great thing when it works, because structurally there is no difference between he died last Sunday and she sang the whole day and she ran 10 miles on the one hand, and she left a note or the other hand, or she killed John on the other hand. So in the former case, it is clearly an adverbial. In the other case, it is a patient, a direct object, and a rule-based system would have no chance to make a difference between it. So when it learns syntactically from bigger annotated data that this seeming apparent direct object can also be an oblique without preposition, like an adverbial made by something else than by adverb, then it's a great thing. UDpipe in with EWL, that biggest model, it does it pretty well, but you can't always rely on that. So for instance, he died last Sunday, went through wonderfully. She sung all day as well, but she ran 10 miles. That went already wrong. So it's not a matter of annotation. It's simply here. It's an error of how the annotation translated into the performance of the parser. Okay, so this would be the main sentence elements in a simple clause. Then there's something that's specific to UDpipe. To universal dependencies, and you should know about it. Copula predicate. John is a teacher. Normally, you would think that this copula is the main verb, but it isn't. When there's a copula predicate in UD, then this copula verb, this be, is captured as an auxiliary verb, and the nominal part or adjective part of the predicate becomes the root of the sentence. This is totally weird and confusing, but it has its good reason. Quite many languages don't use copula for instance Russian in present tense. He nice, sort of. So to make these very frequent and just crucially important structures look the same across languages, the designers of universal dependencies decided to do it like this. So this is something you just have to remember when you extract, when you want to extract verbs, and you get many nouns nouns there as well. Then it's parts of these noun predicates. This doesn't mean that the verb be is always a copula. The parser should be able to recognize when it is a copula predicate in a complex tense, like she has been happy, it is still she is happy, right? Just in a different tense. So it is still marked as a copula verb here with the cop label. While in she has been swimming, the parser correctly recognized that this was not a copula. This was this was just a part of an auxiliary verb in this particular tense construction. Here we have the complement I was talking about. Now, again, what is copula verbs? You have to look up in the documentations of the particular language, of the particular corpus, whose model you are going to use. For instance, English is very conservative with copulas. Only the verb to be is copula, while all Czech children learn at school that it is to be, to become, to begin, 4 or 5 verbs like that. So this could, we just bring in very different traditions, and there's actually no right or wrong. You have to look up what the practice is and accommodate to this when you extract information according to this annotation scheme. Okay, so here we let us make an exercise, but before that, let us no, it's going to be this exercise, and afterwards there would be a Quizlet round again. So please go to this address. Cože? Jo. Good idea. Sorry, I should have put it into the chat. Thank you. Thank you. When you have a login here, then you are lucky. When not, you can just try to get in without the login. So it's going to be here, syntax 1. And you should be able to see now. So you should see this or the teacher instead of Tinkova. We might have slightly different views here. If you click on the base tree, can you see a base tree when you are there, right? So that's your tree. I hope if everything works as it should, then although you see just one, you should each have your own base tree. So this is an annotation tool, and when you click on a verb on a word here and drag your mouse to some other verb, to some other word token, then when the word changes its color, then it means that the tool, it's called Arburator, then Arburator is ready to draw an arrow. So this would be an edge to a dependent node. So obviously in this sentence, John gave them books. Give is the verb, the only verb there, so it's very likely to be the main verb. And John would probably hang on this give, right? What do you think? What do you think the relation would be? Even if you don't remember the labels, so just tell me what you think it is. I guess I hear subject, so it is indeed subject. It is a noun subject, so you can put it in this drop-down list. So how about books? Would again hang on the giving, right? And I bet it is the direct object. So it is the object. And then we have another object-like thing here, again, hanging on the verb. And we know that we can have just one object, and that is the direct object. So this is the indirect object. And so here we go. Is there anyone who can't see really any sense in this? All right. So another one would be this. So again, this would be a noun subject. By the way, if you don't like anything about the words here, their lemma or their part of speech, you just once click on the token, and you can edit all these attributes, just like in Taytok, as you saw yesterday. And yeah, you can just edit it. So, and this is tricky. What would you? Well, I haven't made it tricky, so you see it for the first time. So this is a copula predicate, and therefore it is the root is the adjective here. She has been happy. She is happy. So this happy is the main is the root of the sentence here, and it has two function words on it. It would be this been, and that is the copula. Hop. And then it has, which is an ordinary auxiliary word here, auxiliary verb. And then it has a subject. So she happy sort of is the predicate. And it's a noun, so it's a noun subject. Like this. You can save it here, save it as base 3. So, how about she has been swimming? You saw it on the slides. I apologize for this being so repetitive, but I can imagine that if you see it for the first time or after many years, you've been happy to not be forced to see it. So it could be just more comfortable. So swimming is the main predicate here. Again, we have some auxiliary verbs here, and this is not a copula. So we just call it aux. And there's another. And here you have the subject. So I think we have 8 to altogether with this subject object thing. So let's complete these 8. Friendly is again a part of copula predicate. So we have a copula here. And a subject. And now John used to be friendly. That for me, this would be a totally clear copula predicate as well, meaning iteration or long ago. But English calls it a verb, and not an auxiliary verb. So this is strangely the main verb in the sentence. So this is again the noun subject. And then he was friendly. Oh, how do I get the relation arrows? Isabel, like this. You click on the word from which you want to draw the arrow. This is the governing word. And then you go to the dependent one. So the used governs this friendly, because to be friendly is a copula predicate. So to and be are going to hang on friendly, right? And you have to look out, not like me, here in the moment when the dependent word gets colored, highlighted, then you drop or then you just let the system create the arrow, and you choose from a list of attribute values. So and here this is a copula, right? So the relation is copula, cop, and this would be an ordinary auxiliary. Like this. 2 more to go. So this is my sister. What is the... Yes, you click and drag. What is the subject here, and what is the predicate? This is my sister. So this is the entity, and the sister is sort of logical category. This is my sister. So sister is the main predicate. And again, we have the auxiliary verb, the copula verb to be here. And this which is a personal pronoun acting like a noun, is the noun subject. So if you want me to see your trees afterwards, please save them with these 3 dots here. And then we have something already from Shakespeare. And this is a regular long sentence, but we have some relations there already. So I will prove a busy actor in their play. The main predicate is the verb prove, then will is an auxiliary verb, not a copula, so that's going to be aux. And I is its subject. Nominal subject. Then let's look at the parts that I already filled in. So he will prove an actor. Oh, something missing here. He will prove an actor. What is it? So we will create a predicate of he actor almost, right? He and I actor. So this is the verb complement. Do you agree? So I will, and the verb complement, for the first time we see it in action, that's the ex-comp. Okay, so now you have all of them covered, and we move towards modifications in of noun phrases. I will prove a busy actor in their play. Here it is interpreted as actor in their play. The actor in their play did something. Okay. So another interpretation could have been in their play, I will prove a busy actor. That is sort of ambiguous, and we have to decide ourselves how we interpret it. So this interpretation is the actor in their play. I will prove a busy actor, which is in their who is in their play. Actor where, when it is a nominal modifier other than an adjective, then it has the label and mod, and then it has the case marker here, the preposition, and another nominal modifier would be the possessive pronoun. We wondered already yesterday why this wasn't a determiner. Simply English likes to call their possessive pronouns nouny words, and therefore it cannot be determiner. It's a noun modifier. Now you might wonder why it is not oblique when you see a preposition here with a case, why this is not oblique case. For some reason they draw a difference between modifiers of nouns and modifiers of verbs. So when something prepositional modifies a verb, then it is an oblique case, and when something like this modifies a noun, then it is called nominal modifier. Let's go back to the presentation. And there we go. When you have a noun and on that hangs something, some modifiers. So it's either the nominal modifier that you've just seen, the office of the chair. So this of the chair in this of the chair would be the noun modifier, or my body, because my is pronoun. It could be a compound, dinner time. Then the dinner hangs on the time as a part of compound. Or apposition. Apposition is when you have something that's seemingly coordinated, like Sam the manager, and you mean the same person, right? Then the second part of it is the apposition. Obviously, nouns often take adjective modifiers. They are called amod, then numerals. This is namamod, and then typically they take relative clauses. So like Sam spent everything he could. The car that was stolen yesterday, that would be a relative clause. Or you can use a participial construction, car stolen yesterday. That wouldn't be a relative clause, it would be just an adjective clause. This has to be partly memorized, so I understand that you would not be able to start annotating right away, but I hope at least that some of it will just stick to your memory for a while. Here we have a nice apposition. What do you think of the Scottish lord, his neighbor? So what is object, or you think, right? Subject, you think, and of someone. This is a noun in the oblique case of lord. And the lord has an apposition, the neighbor. So the apposition hangs on the on its first part, his neighbor. Here we have a sentence packed with noun modifiers. So this will be a living. So is the will. So yeah, so is the will. Will of a daughter would be noun modifier. The daughter modifies the will of a living, and then living daughter would be adjective modifier, because this living is tagged here as an adjective. If you were saying that this is a verb, then this would be an adjective. This would be an adjective clause. You see again that it's fuzzy, the difference in participles, that whether they are more adjectives or more verbs. You just have to live with it. And now we go even more down. Curbed by the living daughter, curbed, the daughter was curbed. Here it is tagged as a verb, and we like it. So if it's a verb, then it's going to be an adjective clause rather than an adjective modifier. Curbed by the evil, this is a verb, and this is a prepositional phrase. So this prepositional phrase is going to be something in oblique case. And the evil of a dead father. So evil of someone, these are two nouns. Therefore, this is a noun modifier. And then the father is dead, so it's adjective modifier. We did this already. Then you have also adverbials in the sentence. Adverbials are either adverbs or adverbial clauses. You know a lot of adverbial clauses. I went there because it was raining, although it was raining, all sorts of things. So these are adverbial clauses. So this would be an adverbial clause. Despite being a nice guy, so despite this is a clause, right? Someone is a nice guy. John was fired. So despite of this whole action, that's an adverbial clause. And then there's I think last thing that you really have to know about universal dependencies, and that is how they treat coordinations. Here is a coordination of 3 nouns: blood, sweat, and tears. And it goes like this. The first member of the coordination becomes the actual sentence element or clause element, and it has all the other members as its children. So the sweat comes on blood, and the tears comes on blood as well. So they are siblings in this case. And they have children, and that's the punctuations or the coordinating conjunctions hanging on them like this. In many other formalisms, there's a special node for coordination, and then all the members are siblings, or the last conjunction is the root of this subtree. So nothing like this. This hangs all on the first element there. And you've seen already by the in my example sentences the labels for these small auxiliary words. So preposition is called case. Then a subordinating conjunction is called mark. And the infinitive marker is called mark as well. I made an error. So I said it was aux, but it is mark, sorry. Then determiner is det, and copula verb is cop. That's you saw this already. And auxiliary verb is aux. You see quite some redundancy there, right? When something has the upos tag aux, then it's possibly always has also the dependency aux. Then there are some of these quasi dependencies, like fixed for fixed expressions and flat and compound. That would be already too much detail. You saw that sometimes you have to interpret something that you would like to leave under specified, right? And sometimes it's ambiguity, but sometimes and very often in syntax we just stumble on the natural vagueness of language. Ambiguity, there's a difference between those two concepts. Ambiguity is when the two things that you imagine this means that they can't coexist normally. Like in this give me the raspberry, it could be three things, and it's only your model of common sense that when someone asks you to give him the raspberry, that he wants a piece of food or that computer and doesn't want you to make a rude sound in their face. So that's ambiguity. When the speaker says it, then he can't normally. Then he can't mean all the three things at once. This is the principle of puns, right? When this is violated. While in vagueness, the options all can coexist, and they are irrelevant. It's often just the way we structure the reality, what we sample from the reality. For instance, when you, well, by the way, I really recommend this book. It's not exactly in face of vagueness. It's one of my favorites. It's just fantastic. In the English grammar and all our grammars, there are famous vague or ambiguous sentences. For instance, this famous English raising versus verb control. I told John to leave. So the scene is what you imagine is that someone tells John leave, and John leaves, and and then the syntacticians would make a big difference between hanging John on told and leave on John, or hanging leave on told and John on leave. In this case, this is the so-called verb control. So it's a tradition to hang I told John, no, sorry, John, I told John would be indirect object, and to leave would be the complement. So that would be the ex-comp of it. And if you were doing some sort of semantic annotation, then you would probably make an artificial node on leave and say, oh, and there the grammar says it is John that will be leaving. And then there's something that's on the surface totally identical. I hate John to leave, and there they just decided I hate the fact of John leaving, not John to leave. John leaving. So the leave would hang on hate, and John would be the subject of leave. In I see him smile, that's completely blurry. You just it's irrelevant, right? How it should be syntactically parsed. John is smiling. I see it. I see John, and I see the smile. So it's always an ad hoc decision in the annotation scheme what they try to keep consistent then. And it gets tricky when, well, it almost always gets tricky. We can't afford our last secretary being ill, also sort of, or the tough movement, it is called. She is easy to please, actually means it is easy to please her. And some syntacticians would like this sort of construction to look differently from she is eager to please. Cleft sentences would be another such thing. It was John who broke the window actually mean the window broke John, right? That it was that you put the stress on John. That is the new information. And famously prepositional attachment. I know Jane from Vienna. Then either you have met Jane in Vienna for the first time, or she said, I am from Vienna, and everyone knows her as Jane from Vienna. Or grab a coffee to go. I'm not sure whether you wouldn't already write hyphens there, dashes. But even more famously, I saw a man with a telescope. So who had the telescope? You or the man, right? That would be, by the way, that would be ambiguity, not vagueness. So sometimes both come into play. A syntactic parser has no way of seeing it from just the structure. Here, the vocabulary and the common sense or the word knowledge come into play. Therefore, when you extract these things, then you have to think of them being scattered, either hanging on the noun phrase that you have there, or hanging somewhere above it, because the parser guessed that it was more in the hanging on the verb. So now it's time for you to rehearse the syntactic or grammar notions together with the labels. You know the games from before. get your mobile phones ready. Answer with there are pretty many, so I oh. Do you mind? I hope not. Okay, starting. Good one. Oh, I think I've messed up this one. Sorry. Yeah, the sentence hangs on the fact, right? So it can't be, yeah, it's a noun modifier. No, this is not this one. Would you like to make more annotation or another round of this? Okay. All right. Got it? Got it. So let me go through it. So, what do you think is the main predicate in this sentence? Or what is the main clause? It is the second, because this, whoever did that starts with an interrogative pronoun, or well, stands in the. You can replace, that's better. You can replace this clause with it. It must have been a very brave person, or she must have been a very brave person. So this is a clause in the position of a subject. And this is, so this is, that's called clausal subject and has the label C subject. This is easy, right? That's nominal subject. This is a direct object. Nina cooked what? She cooked soup. Nominal direct object. Nina knew what she had to do. That's a similar case as with the clausal subject, only that now we have the clause in the position of an object. Nina knew what? Nina knew that. Nina knew what she had to do. And therefore, it is an object, and it's a clausal. They make a difference here, so they say it's clausal direct object. The label is C-comp. We have two objects in this sentence, and Peter is the one that would be dative, would be the recipient, is not the typical patient of the sentence, so it is the indirect object. The indirect object is there only, there is no clausal indirect object. Then this obviously again is a recipient, but you can't tell it from the structure again anymore. So it is just a common ordinary prepositional phrase. Gave to Peter, gave something to Peter. So this is called the prepositional case, the prepositional phrase, just translated into the term oblique case. And the label for the noun in it is oblique, like the oblique case. And the preposition always has the label case and hangs on the oblique. Here we have something that resembles a direct object, but it isn't. It is actually an oblique case without a preposition. So oblique case is something that there's a difference between core arguments and sort of adjuncts. And in the adjuncts it doesn't matter whether they are formed by a prepositional phrase or a plain noun phrase. Although typically they are with a preposition. In the town, so in hangs on the town because it's an auxiliary word. It is a preposition, and its label is case. Now, Nina taught Paul something, and this is a clause itself. You also have a verb control here. Paul would be driving. So this would be that verb complement. And this is just a detail, but it at least in my mind it makes all these English complements a coherent group, that there's always some, that it's something that hangs on the verb, but has some very strong cognitive relation to either subject or object of the sentence. This would be the same thing. Nina likes to swim, so Nina swims. Nina is smart is another verb complement, only you can't see it in this sentence because you have to have a root. So so this whatever is the main the uppermost the main word in the sentence, it becomes the root. So it is an adjective in a copular predicate, but it's the root of the sentence. It happens to be a root of the sentence. Nina is a good student. Then Nina student. This is also again a copular predicate. And it would be an ex-comp. It's a verb. It's a verb complement in this sense, but it is the root here. And Nina likes apples. This means when something is on top of the tree, you don't care about its other functions it could have if it were somewhere lower in the hierarchy. Root is root. Nina likes apples, so this is the subject. There is a noun that's obviously a direct object, but oh. But we were talking about like, sorry. So that's root, and it's the main verbal predicate. The leaves turned yellow. Turned would be here the main predicate, because English doesn't acknowledge them as copular verbs. These become something. So leaves would be the subject, and then there's an adjective that is not the main predicate, but hangs on the verb. So the only thing it can be is the complement. How about this yellow? Any tips, guesses? Can you see a predicate between Peter and yellow, or the fence and yellow? Is the fence is yellow? Peter painted the fence. Peter painted the fence yellow, so Peter was yellow. No. Painted yellow. Yes. Sure. Yellow hangs on paint. But what is it? It is a verb complement, because you have this strong relation to object or subject here, and it's an adjective hanging on a verb, so it has it all, and it relates to the object, right? The fence was yellow as a result of it. Here we have a noun phrase. The governing word is going to be the office, and it's modified by the chair. A noun can be modified either by adjectives or some nouny things, and a prepositional phrase in the range of these nouny things is the noun modifier. If it were an adjective, it would be an adjective modifier, a mod, but because it's a noun, then it's an mod. This is easy. This is a compound. Here we have two things that are seemingly in coordination, but that's the special type of coordination where both the members of the coordination relate cognitively, denote the same entity. So that's the apposition, and it is labeled as apos. So here, the governing word would be roses, and 4 modifies the roses, right? How many roses do we have? It is clearly a numeral, and numerals have their own label, and that's num mod. I haven't found any in Shakespeare. Here we have a noun phrase. It's about cars. So cars is going to be the main word there, and they are modified by something that's already a clause. If you decide, well, it depends. If you decide that this participle stolen is a verb, then it has consequences for the syntactic relation. When you decide that it's an adjective, I would say this is clearly a verb. But if it were an adjective, it would be an adjective modifier. But when it is a verb, then it is an adverbial clause. Adverbial clause, ACL. Then there is a special type of an adjective clause. Did I say adjective? I hope I haven't said adverbial. Adjective clause. When it is introduced by a relative pronoun, or when you know that you could insert a relative pronoun, but you just omitted it, then it is a relative adjective clause. So it has, the fact that the word is sorry, that's a content clause. So that's just an adjective clause. But this would be the other case. The debate, which debate? What is the property of the debate? The debate that which lasted so long. That's the relative. That's the relative pronoun. That would be the relative clause. And we are almost at the end. We are probably not going to finish it. Here you can see a subordinate clause, and the subordinate clause has the function of an adverbial, as an adverb. John went out late. John went out, well, quickly. So so it has exactly the same function. It's an adverbial clause, label adverbial clause. I hope that when you find it useful to learn this, takes about a week if you were to become a proficient annotator, that it's going to give you, well, dopamine rewards every time you hit the right label and hang the right edge, and and that you are going to cultivate this, because it's better than Sudoku in preventing your early Alzheimer's disease and stuff. It's really it's supposed to keep you mentally fit. So I hope you are going to enjoy it sometime. And in my next lesson in the afternoon, we are going to use this, I know, still very fragile knowledge in a querying language, how to ask for these things. So thank you for your attention, and we'll continue after the coffee break.